So I think that like overall we have a lot of really good teams now. I think that there's a lot of potential in all of these teams. I think that if any fan was like expecting any of the teams that are completely brand new to immediately be dominating the scene, they kind of just have really unrealistic expectations because it's a learning process, and you're not just going to be able to just be better than Navi just by getting five guys together that didn't play together before. It's just not possible. You have to go through a lot of learning, a lot of protocols that you have to go through, and try to get to the same level, and then eventually surpass them. So first of all, we all just need to catch up, and then after we catch up, we can start thinking about like surpassing them. So I think right now I think that the teams have a lot of potential in them, and I think that if we could just get more practice for the other teams, like in the region, so we can develop them as well, so it's not as big of a drop off. Because right now it's we pretty much had like Liquid last year, and then a little bit of EG. Um, as far as like top teams like competing internationally consistently all last year, and we weren't able to play against a lot of NA teams because of just how long we had to be in Europe, and that really stunts the growth of the entire scene, because they're not getting as good of practice either, all the other teams. So whenever there is any shuffles or changes that need to happen, then the entire scene's a little bit put back a little bit, and it'll just take even longer for us to come back. So I think that it's just being patient with the learning process and making sure that we're doing everything correctly to eventually be able to get to that level. I think that the biggest thing is kind of what I was saying before, where we need to just make sure that we're actually playing and practicing more in NA, because if you don't have that, like if we don't have all of the strongest teams there, then the entire region is going to suffer from it. And it's not that we don't have enough good teams there. We definitely do. It's just that most of us are having to be in Europe for the majority of the time. And then the whole scene isn't going to be benefiting from that. The teams that are going to be practicing there, like us, Furia, EG, when they were doing their boot camp here, the teams that are able to have like sustained sessions in Europe, yeah, we're going to get better for sure because we're going to be playing against the best teams in the world. But if we could just get all those teams in NA actually practicing and trying to lift up the whole scene up together, then we're going to see the whole scene get better. But as it currently stands, if we're going to be having all of our best teams, literally all of them in Europe, then the rest of the NA scene isn't going to get better. It's just not going to be very likely for them to get better unless they, I don't know, they would have to just go Super Saiyan to be able to do that. So I think that it has to be like an effort from everybody in the scene to lift it up, and just pouring money is not going to help. I think it has to come from everybody playing and making each other better. It was actually looking pretty good before the whole RMR shift that happened, before the news that happened about a week ago from Valve. We were going to have a decent amount of time in NA, and there's going to be more tournaments in there. There is some lands being planned, and who knows like what's going to be the end result of those. And I think that is what's necessary for the region to get better, because like for example, if we have like a tournament in EU that we're going to be boot camping for, we're of course going to be traveling to Europe so we can get used to the jet lag. We're going to be playing the teams that are there, and if we have them in NA and teams want to boot camp in NA, then those teams are going to want to boot camp in NA potentially. If everyone is going to be going to that tournament, if you have like 8, 10, 12 of the best teams in the world going to NA and they want to boot camp there, then there's going to be really good practice for the entire region, and they're all going to be able to benefit from it. The lower tier 2, tier 3 NA teams are going to be able to practice against those teams, get better, the same way that we come to Europe and we play against those teams and we get better. It's got to be the same exact thing that happens. And now with the scheduling change, I think we're losing a bit of that. It's still okay, but it's not ideal. And I think that for next year, or even the second half, Q3, Q4 of this year, if we can get more of that development and lands in NA, I think it'll help.